feet. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Stand the test of time. Seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, believe you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Hold up, are you listening? Focus in, we're looking to make history. Let's go, we know what we've waited for. You ready? Stay ready. Breathe in, ready for the fight. Breathe out, the lights are shining bright. Stand up, stand tall, now is your time. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Stand the test of time. Seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, believe you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Relentless, cold as they come. They ain't seen nothing like us. This legend runs in our blood. We're coming shot from a gun. Can't handle nothing like us. Get ready, our time has come. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend.
Hey, it's Thursday night, and welcome back, guys. Happy New Year. Man, what a time. I hope you had a fantastic holiday season with your family. What am I talking about? Why am I being so politically correct? Happy holiday season. Are you kidding? I hope you had a wonderful Christmas season in the Deep South. I know I did. It was a great break. I missed you guys last week, but man, did I have a good time just doing nothing. And I did. I did nothing. I think I spent like 2 to 3 straight days just vegging in my recliner, watching and binge watching things on Netflix. That's what I did during my time off, because I just needed a mental break. And if I'm guessing right, you guys did too. And so I'm glad we were able to do that and enjoy the Christmas season, enjoy the season of Christ. That's always fun. And I will never, ever apologize for saying Merry Christmas to anybody. So Happy New Year. Is 2022. We flipped the calendar. It's a brand new year. Let's hope that we are headed into the wild blue yonder with this COVID stuff and we can all get back to normal. But I'm hoping. So part of being normal is me thanking my sponsors for being able to produce this show every week. And so at the start of the new year, it's time to revisit these guys and ask them, hey, do you want to re-up your sponsorship? And most of them have said yes so far. There's a couple of them that are trying to get back to me, but until they tell me no, I'm going to promote them on this show. So let me go ahead and thank some of these sponsors. Winn-Dixie, the Migraine and Spine Clinic, A Shade of Perfection, Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road, White Oak Investment, and G Nation Media. Thank you to all of these sponsors. And speaking of sponsors, I want to go give a shout out to Winn-Dixie for sponsoring our drawing at the end of the show. So I know you've had a couple of weeks off and you may not remember how to do this. So I'm going to put these instructions on the screen. If you want to go ahead and enter for your chance to win the drawing at the end of the show, we may have a couple of drawings throughout the show. We just never know how it's going to hit us. So go ahead and type in #OneLounge into the comments. And that enters you. It's just simple as that. That enters you into the drawing at the end of the show. Now, we have a kind of a surprise for you tonight because the news took us by surprise a little bit. Let me go ahead and bring on one of our super fans, Chris Bisher, onto the screen, and we'll tell you what we're talking about. Chris, how are you, man?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. Listen, I hope you enjoyed your Christmas break, your New Year break from the show, just to recharge and relax a little bit. And so during that break, I didn't just watch Netflix for 24/7, right? So I came into the office a little bit and made some changes to the show. So if you notice, there's some newer graphics are on the screen right now. Look what else I introduced, Chris. Check this out. So sometimes people think that I'm just joking about some of the equipment that I use to power this thing. So I've introduced basically an LG cam. I call it Cam 2, right? So people can have a behind the scenes look at some of the things that we've put in place. This is why, guys, I need these sponsors, because this equipment is not cheap. Let me show the folks what I'm talking about. Check this out. So you guys see this right in the upper right-hand corner, right? Where it says LG Cam 2. This is a behind the scenes look. So you guys can see this is live, right? Right. Behind the scenes look at, you got a couple of monitors right here telling me what's going on. You got this nice fancy mixer board. You got, I just added some more equipment, this Stream Deck deal right here where it's a push button thing and it just launches stuff just like that. And I programmed it to Chris. I don't know if you can see this, but it tells me just at a moment's glance right here, how many days left until kickoff next season.
Very cool.
So we have 225 days until kickoff against American Heritage there at Martin Stadium. So anyway, you guys ever want to know how many days till kickoff? Send me a text or give me a shout and I'll do it. One thing that I also wanted to do was take this opportunity to thank one of our newest sponsors, and that's Pepsi. So that's what this product placement is right here. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is my favorite drink in the world right there. Mountain Dew Zero. That is, I swear, that is like a nectar from God himself. I don't know what they put in this stuff. I don't think I want to know what they put in this stuff. I purposely try to stay away from the back of the bottle. All I know is it's fantastic. Fantastic, man. And then every time you have something cool, you got a knucklehead in the comments section that's trying to send spam to everybody. So let me go ahead and block that user. I hate stuff when stuff like that happens. So you probably know what I'm talking about. During the season, as we kick off the games, things like that, and I'll post reminders for folks. And you have these spam bots, Chris, that just try to hijack your post and post these fraudulent links to these fraudulent live streams. And basically what they're looking for people to do is click on these links and buy this bogus live stream, and they'll charge you like $35 to $45. You put in your PayPal information, your Venmo or whatever, and you never get the link. But they've already got your money.
There was a number of Lowndes fans that fell victim to that, all the way going back to last baseball season when the Vikings were making that run deep into the playoffs.
That's right. That's right. So I try to tell people all the time, unless you hear it from an official source, unless you see it on this page or other Lowndes social media sites, don't. And unless you hear it from us, a press release, or don't click on that stuff, because they're fraudulent. And we don't have the manpower to delete every single one of those. So anyway, that's our PSA for the day. Hey, if you guys don't mind, I've been asked to do, I don't do this very often, but everyone knows that we are people of faith as part of this, affiliated with this show. And I was asked by the folks at Winn-Dixie to say a prayer for someone on air tonight. And I'm never going to deny. Let me go ahead and take the second camera off. I'm never, Chris, going to deny someone, say, no, I'm not going to pray for them. So Sissy Bass, I don't know if people know her, but she is having hip replacement surgery in the morning. And so we've just been asked to pray for her because she's a little bit nervous about the surgery. That's a major deal when you're having hip replacement surgery. So I'm going to take about 20 seconds just to pray for her out loud. So you guys just join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for allowing us to come to you and enjoy these things that we have in life, like live streaming to our folks, having fun with Lowndes athletics, joking around and talking with you, Father. But there's so many more serious things in life. And we've been asked to pray for one of those. And that's Miss Sissy Bass. She's undergoing hip replacement surgery tomorrow. And she's a little nervous, filled with anxiety. So we just ask that you give her confidence, encourage her, Lord, in her mind, in her spirit, that you're there watching over her, that you're there protecting her, that you're there to empower those doctors to help her, God. And we just ask for a favorable, positive outcome. Thank you so much for allowing us to approach your throne of grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. So if y'all keep Sissy Bass in your prayers tonight, that would be greatly appreciated. So as we said, Winn-Dixie, go ahead and put in the comments #1Lowndes, and that enters you for your chance to win that Stuff the Bucket meal and to get a couple of t-shirts. Guys, we have plenty of t-shirts. So if I see you on the street, I may just be throwing a t-shirt at you because we want these people to have these things, right? So anyway, that's what's going on here. Before we get into football talk and things like that, Chris, there's a couple of things that's going on around the nation that I want to make sure people are aware of. By the way, we're going to have Rashawn Benjamin. He is the boys basketball coach that will be calling into the show in a few minutes to talk about Lowndes basketball and give us an update on how the season is going. So before then, let me go ahead and fast forward. We've talked about some of the sponsors: Winn-Dixie, Shade of Perfection, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, White Oak Investment, Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road, Pepsi is a brand new sponsor. But I wanted to remind you about this. Lowndes Baseball is having their first annual fundraiser with a guest speaker. That speaker is going to be FSU baseball head coach Mike Martin Jr. It's going to be this coming Monday, January 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Lowndes High School cafeteria. If you want more information on that, if you want to attend, purchase a table, sponsor that event, contact Dan Kerrigan at dan@kerrigangroup.com, and he will get you the information that you need. Remember, that's this coming Monday night at 6:30, first annual fundraiser for Lowndes Baseball. And here's the deal with Lowndes Basketball. They are having a really, really good season. The boys are off to an 8-2 start. Here's the deal. Tomorrow night, they're having their first region game against Big Blue up in Tifton. And the girls are going to have their first game tomorrow night against Tifton as well. And they're currently at 9-3 on the season. So congratulations to both of those teams. Chris, we got some big news, man. Huge news. You know, guys, if you've been a follower of Around the Nation, if you've been watching our last several episodes, we've been joking with our good friend Billy Pearson. If you notice, he's a regular on the show, but he's not watching tonight because he's currently preoccupied, Chris, with two weddings. One is his daughter's getting married this weekend down in Lake Park.
Yep.
But that's not the kind of a shocking news that we kind of woke up to, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. That's exactly when, right? And so he sends me this video, and I'm watching this video. It's like, holy cow, did this really just happen? Guys, here's what I'm talking about. So bear with me as we share this good news about Billy Pearson. Check this out. And this is his girlfriend, Michelle Carter, opening up a present from Billy on Christmas Eve.
Oh, my God.
Michelle,
Oh, my God.
will you marry me?
Oh, my God. Billy. Y'all knew this?
Yep.
Oh, my God. You're so Oh, my God, you're kidding me. Oh, my God.
I hope you got that because I wasn't recording the whole time.
So, Chris, we're going to need some help from our audience. Some clarification. Did you notice something that was missing, Chris?
Yeah, I never heard yes. I know she's wearing the ring, but I never heard yes.
So, guys, you just watched that video along with us. And Chris and I were kind of examining this before the show tonight, and it dawned on us, she never said yes.
No, she didn't.
So my question to the audience is Billy Pearson officially engaged? when the person that he proposed to didn't actually say yes, but she's wearing the ring? I don't know the marriage rules on this type of stuff, Chris.
I don't know, but listen, I want to go back to something the preacher said to us at our rehearsal dinner.
All right.
He got up, he says, marriage is a great institution for anyone that wants to be institutionalized.
Well, I'm just wondering if Billy has been accepted into that institution yet.
I'm not sure. There's visual evidence that she's wearing the ring, but I never heard yes.
I didn't either, man. And Jason Burnett says nope, not official yet. So Billy, Michelle, if you guys are watching tonight, y'all call in, especially Michelle. She needs to call into the show and clarify that for our audience and just actually officially say yes on the air so we can all say, man, okay, now they're officially engaged.
You know what it could have been,
we
Larry?
think they're engaged, but we don't quite know yet.
He had that ring box nested inside of about 8 boxes. It started off about the size of a TV. And now she may have been tired by the time she got to the ring.
Absolutely. But
I mean, yes is a big word.
But the rules are rules, man. It's like crossing the goal line without the ball in your hand.
That's right.
Billy may have fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Hey, this might be Leon Lett. Leon's fixing to go in for the score, and the ball gets batted out of his hand.
Listen, we're hearing from a lady here. Shannon Tabor says, she must say yes. So I guess those are the rules. So anyway, it's like getting the marriage certificate, but the signature hadn't been put into place yet.
Using invisible ink.
Yeah. So anyway, we want to say congratulations to Billy Pearson and Michelle Carter, but we're not quite there yet. I don't really know what to make of it. So anyway, we dedicated a bunch of songs to Billy before the Christmas break. Well, enough of our shenanigans for now. Reshon Benjamin. Hey, Coach Benjamin, is that you?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Chris, can you hear Coach Benjamin?
I can.
Perfect. Coach, I had to clarify that because I had some equipment malfunction a few days ago, and some of my audience could not hear the phone caller. So we had to test that on the fly. So we appreciate you calling in tonight.
Yes, sir. As always, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate coming by talking through you guys.
Yes, sir. Hey, let's just get right down to the point. You guys are having a really good year, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're currently 8-2. But I gotta ask you something. Okay.
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. One is, what's got your team playing so good right now?
I think the biggest thing is we have really good senior leadership.
Okay.
These guys, there's a couple of guys who have been playing varsity for, I'd have to say 3 years since I've got the Lowndes. And they've really embraced, what it takes to be a good team. They're doing a lot of the extra stuff that a lot of people don't see. A lot of the things that, when people come in the gym and the gym is packed and those parts you do see, there's a lot of things that people don't see. The extra time, the staying before practice 20 minutes, the staying late after 30 minutes, the weightlifting, the extra running, in addition to the things that we already do in terms of practice and workouts. So I think that the senior group has really, really embraced what it takes. I remember when I first came to Lowndes, Mr. Godwin, everybody I talked to, I told them 2022 is going to be the year. And, you look up and it's 2022 and the benefits are paying off.
Well, I remember you saying that to me last year when we were on the radio. I don't know if you remember that one time at Black Crow Media. And you said that just give us a year, 2022. You're going to see what we're made of.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something, though. I'm looking over your record. And you had a little hiccup at the end of the season, at the end of the year. So on December 29th and December 30th, I think you guys played in a tournament. Is that right?
We did. Yes, sir. We played in the Tournament of Champions up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It was played at Wheeler High School. I don't know if you know anything about Wheeler, but
they're a really good team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this tournament was the best of the best, not just Georgia, but all throughout the country. I mean, there was a couple of teams from Florida, a couple of teams from Alabama. There was one team from Memphis, Tennessee. So we saw a good crop of talent. Our first game was against Shiloh.
Yeah.
Shiloh's a 6A team, but they're really, really, really good. And then the second game was against Solid Rock Academy. Solid Rock had 2 7-footers, just to say the least. But that's kind of what we ran into. The good part about going up to a tournament like that, it was about learning. It was about, some guys who usually don't have a big role, being able to step into some bigger roles and fill some bigger shoes. Because we were actually down. I was down 3 of my better guards going up to Atlanta. And so, anytime you go up there playing those good teams, you want to have all hands on deck. But since I was down 3 good guards, I knew it was going to be tough, but it was still good to get up there and learn. So that's what it was about.
Coach, your football counterpart, Jamie Dubose, has a philosophy where he likes to play tougher non-region opponents. Sometimes you win those games, sometimes you lose those games, but he says that he uses those types of games to, 1, teach his team how to win against tougher opponents, and 2, to prepare his team for region play. Is that why you play these types of teams? What is your philosophy in that area?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's absolutely the reason why we went up there. I like to kind of break the season down into 3 components.
Mhm.
You have your beginning of the season, which is like Thanksgiving tournament, those couple of region preliminary games. And then you go into your Christmas tournament phase, and then you walk into your region tournament postseason phase. And so the region tournament, the Christmas tournament was all about being prepared for region play. We try not to overemphasize one game bigger than the other, but the quote I use right now is region counts as double.
Yeah.
You count them twice because they're that important. And so the Christmas tournament was just all about getting prepared for region play. It's a readjuster. Because again, we were riding high. We were 7-8-0 at the time, and you kind of want to get them readjusted to, you're 7-0, but at the same time, there's still a lot more we can work on.
Right.
So let's go up here and play somebody who's better than us, who's going to expose us. Practice prepares you, but games expose you. And so playing really good teams like that expose how much better we need to be in terms of winning a region championship. So yes, sir. Same philosophy. That's what that was all about. We got gut check, but it was good for us.
So when you played these tougher teams up in Atlanta, Shiloh and Solid Rock, you came out a little bit, you came out short against those teams. What did you learn about your team against in those 2 losses?
What I learned was these guys are resilient. They're not going to quit. They're not going to back down. Big JC Riley had a really good performance the first game. Again, since we were down a couple of guards and they knew it, they adjusted their defense to making it hard for us to get the ball to him. So he did a really good job of just fighting for everything. Everything he got up there, he had to fight for it. DeMarcus Black really stepped up. He really led the way in scoring the basketball. He's very efficient, and I think he grew up there in Atlanta. Samuel Shoptaw, the dynamic freshman that I was telling you about the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
He had the hardest responsibility because he stepped over into the point guard role. And, this was the first time that I believe he's seen pressure like this going up there to Atlanta. But he did a really good job. I mean, he's different. He's really different. I think the second game he might have finished with 14 points. He did a good job of finding his rhythm. Even when there were bad spurts, the thing I like about him, even if he has a bad game or he has a couple of bad moments, he's looking to immediately rectify what he did wrong. He's not hanging his head. He's not moping. He'll come to the bench and tell you, Coach, my bad. This is what I messed up on, and this is what I'm going to do to correct it. So he did a really good job of just being mature and stepping into that role of being a leader and doing a lot more communication to help us be a better team. So I feel like some of the guys who have been in more reserve roles, they got a chance to step up, and they stepped up in a big way. And now going into region play, I think we're even more confident, ready to go.
That's outstanding, Coach. Listen, I'm looking over your roster. I think you and I briefly talked about this before, but the majority of your team are underclassmen. You got a bunch of juniors on there. You got some sophomores. You got a freshman on there. And so you said a while ago that this looks like it's going to be your year, but it looks based on your lineup that you've got a really couple of strong, good years ahead of you here.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. I think this year, if I can use it in this analogy, I think this year we're going to set the table, and for the next couple of years, these underclassmen are going to come sit down and eat.
I hear you.
So I think there's some things that this senior group is doing to kind of, set a routine and because winning is habitual.
Right.
I believe it's habitual, and there's some habitual patterns that must take place in order for a team to become a winning team. And so this senior class has done a really good job of setting the framework of what that's supposed to look like.
Yep.
And so now these younger guys who are getting a chance to kind of be a part of that while at the same time be a major contributor to it, they're going to know what to do in the years to come. So these younger guys are doing a really good job. My hat's off to them. Have a really good coaching staff who are very hands-on with making sure that we're doing the right thing. So shout out to my coaching staff and shout out to the young guys. I think that Lowndes basketball is going to be here for a long time.
Well, speaking of, a shout out, shout out to all our fans just to let them know that tomorrow night you've got your first region game against Big Blue up in Tift County. Coach, just between us, I'm hoping you go up to Tifton and just beat the stew out of them so Cole Moore, our buddy from Tifton, will just hush about Lowndes basketball.
Yes, sir. Well, that's the plan. These guys are they're ready. We just finished practice a few hours ago. They're ready. They're excited. This is the chance. A lot of them have a sour taste in their mouth from the games last year.
Yeah.
Riding down I-75, there's a couple of things we hadn't forgotten. And we've used it as motivation in the weight room, in our off-season workouts, and even now going into the season. These guys are ready. Now I'm not gonna step out on a limb and be cocky and say we're gonna go up and do this or do that. But I know they're gonna see the best version of us, and we're gonna be ready to play.
Well, Coach, last question. What is going to be the key for let's just say it for what it is, your younger, mature team? What's going to be the key when they step on the court up there? And I'm assuming that that arena is going to be packed because Tifton, they take their basketball seriously up there. So how's your team going to react? And what's going to be the key for the Vikings in front of all those folks tomorrow night?
There's a couple of them. The first thing is the mental approach. We talk all the time about playing the game before you play the game. The drive up on the bus, going over the scouting report, taking time to just kind of think about what it is that you do in terms of your individual asset, and then some of the things we do as a team to pull off the victory. So the mental approach is huge. Just making sure everybody's mind is in the right place.
Right.
The second thing is defense. And you and I talked about this last time I called in. Our calling card this year is defense.
Mm-hmm.
So us sitting down on defense, not being so worried about other things and like maybe just trying to score the ball or getting the ooh-ah dunk or the ooh-ah fancy crossover, just sitting down playing solid defense. If our mental approach is correct, if our defensive intensity is there, a lot of what we do on offense comes from what we do on defense.
Absolutely.
So between those two things, I think if our mental approach is right and our defensive intensity is sky high, we're going to have a good chance to win tomorrow.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. We'll be following that game closely tomorrow night. So we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks. And when you beat Tifton tomorrow night, make sure you find Cole Moore and shake his hand for me.
I sure will. We might even have a T-shirt for him.
There you go, Coach. Good luck tomorrow night, Coach.
Go Vikings.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Coach Benjamin, he's always fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's definitely got a motivating factor to the way he speaks.
Yeah.
And obviously his players are feeding off of that.
Absolutely, man. So let's kind of transition into football. And some people say, football? What are you talking about? It's like the 1st of January. Football is just over with. Come on, man. We're in Lowndes County. Football's never really over with, is it?
Nope.
Chris, I got a question for you. As we head into 2022, are we going back to the future? And what I mean by that is, man, you glimpse into the future, and it's almost like we step into a time warp where it's 10 years ago. Here's what I'm talking about. You got Valdosta returning to Region 1-7A. For the first time in years, we're going to be in the same region. As a matter of fact, though, I don't know if you've gotten this impression, but the impression around town is the Wintersville Classic has almost gotten kind of stale because the game doesn't mean as much as far as the standings goes. It doesn't affect playoff seedings or region play or anything like that. And it's like, well, if you win, okay. If you lose, okay. It doesn't really affect anything. But now, going into 2022, Valdosta rejoins the region. Does that game have a new added oomph to it, or did it really never lose anything?
Well, I mean, I don't think any of these players ever want to lose Wintersville. It doesn't matter what side of the ball they're on.
Agreed.
However, now that Valdosta is back in the region, it's going to be a whole new approach. This isn't, oh, well, if we lose, it's okay. No, It matters.
It matters. I'm right there with you. It has always mattered whether or not you win or lose against Valdosta. But like in the past, like 10 years ago, it really mattered because you lose that game, you're kind of behind the 8 ball in the region.
That's right.
And so with 5 teams in the region this year, you lose one because you only got 4 region games. You lose one, that's 25% of your region games. You're behind the 8 ball with Colquitt County and Camden coming up. So,
and I think Camden's going to be a strong team in the region this year. They're going to perfect that wing T even more. And then Richmond Hill, who knows what's going to happen with Richmond Hill as they enter the region. None of us know what to expect. Valdosta has faced them in the past. It's been a couple years ago. But Lowndes does not know what to expect from Richmond Hill. So this is going to be interesting. So we need to win each and every one of those region games. But we need to start off on the right foot, particularly win that first one, which is Valdosta.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces. That's the what I'm talking about when I say, kind of kiddingly talking about when I say a back to the future type of deal, because we're going to see a lot of familiar faces that we've seen in the past, but there's a lot of intrigue because we don't know what to expect because Valdosta is rejoining the region, but they got a brand new head coach that's for real this time, not an interim or anything like that. He's the permanent real head coach. And so what is he going to bring to the table? The wrinkle that we haven't seen yet. And so is he going to rebuild excitement back into that program, get kids to start playing again because their numbers had gone way, way down as far as football players goes. So that's the element of surprise that we're expecting from Valdosta. The other back to the future is Camden County. Last year was Jeff Herron's return to Kingsland over there. He brings back that vaunted wing T, but you know what? After just 1 year, he had it firing on almost all cylinders.
Yes, he did. And don't forget, that game against Camden is at Camden. And I believe that's the final game of the season. So region championship could come down to that game.
That's right. And so here's the intrigue heading into that game. You got Jeff Herron, year 2. And we saw how well he ran the wing T in his first year return. Year 2, you got to think logic says that they're going to be even more sharp or sharper, right? And then this past year when we played them, we had a loaded offense with Ja'Cory Brown, Chase Belcher, Chris Thomas that could basically almost score at will. And we saw that sometimes. Sometimes we'd slow down and bog down, but when the time was needed, those guys stepped up and scored just like that. We don't know if we're going to have that this year. We're going to have a brand new offense, new quarterback, some new receivers, new running backs, several new offensive linemen. So that is a little bit more intrigue heading into that game.
Yep.
So that's team number 2 that we're kind of revisiting with familiar faces, but there's a lot of question marks going into those games.
Larry, if I can just say something about Valdosta, I still disagree with GHSA's decision that they were not allowed to play in postseason play this past year. Nearly the entire team had absolutely nothing to do with what happened with the former coach over there.
Sure.
So not only is Valdosta in the region now, so they got that motivation, but they had the motivation for postseason play. So there's that extra in that game.
Yeah, and you got to know that Shelton Felton is super motivated to get, this is going to be his second Wintersville Classic. He doesn't want to start his tenure there at Valdosta 0-2 against Lowndes.
That's
he
right.
just doesn't. So yeah, it's going to be fun game to watch. The other team that is a back to the future team is Colquitt County. Some people are looking at this like, what are you talking about, Colquitt County? What I mean by back to the future is they just hired a brand new head coach, Sean Calhoun. I don't know if that name rings a bell with most of our fans, but he was the offensive coordinator for Rush Probst and the Colquitt County Packers when they won back-to-back state championships in 2014 and 2015. I think that's right. So he's going to be a familiar face to that program. He's going to reinstitute a lot, if not most, of the things that Rush did over there. So is this going to be the resurgence of Colquitt County football? What do you think about it?
Gosh, I'd say it's a little early to say. What I think is going to happen is I think this is going to be a rebuilding year for Colquitt.
Okay.
They've got too many coaching changes occurring. But, they still got the players. They still got the talent. So let's see what those coaches do.
That's right. Absolutely. Guys, this is a good place to stop and thank our sponsors once again. I want to scroll them across the screen there so you'll be able to see. But at the same time, I want to remind you, if you want to enter for your chance to win the drawing, a couple of drawings at the end of the show, it's going to be, all you got to do is type in #1Lowndes right there on your screen into the comments section of the program tonight. So that's all you got to do to enter. So, and we expect during the off season of football that our viewership is probably not going to be as high as it is during the football season. So that means that your chances of winning are even higher. So anyway, go ahead and enter in for your chance to win. So you can see the sponsor scrolling across the screen there at the bottom. Yeah, I agree with you. We don't know what to expect from Colquitt County, but here's the thing, Chris. Sean Calhoun knows how to score points. He knows how to score lots of points. I believe the 2 years that he was the offensive coordinator, I'm going to look it up real fast. The 2 years that he was the offensive coordinator there at Colquitt County, do you know how many points they scored?
It was a bunch. I couldn't even begin to tell you.
I'm looking it up right now. So here it is. This is going to blow your mind. So in 2014 and 2015, in 2014, they won a state championship, a region and a state championship, and they scored 687 points that year. 687 stinking points. You know how many points that is per game? A bunch.
How many did their opponents score?
Their opponents scored 274.
All right, so I am going to point this out.
Yeah.
They may know how to score points. Do they know how to stop points being scored? They've had a lot of turnover on defense with those coaches. So that's going to be the biggest variable of all.
Yeah, they scored 45 points a game, 46 points a game, basically. And then they gave up 18 points a game. Pretty big time differential there. I bring that up because, we've talked about that. We've talked about defense on our show many, many, many times, right? And so going into next season, it's going to be an even bigger importance because we don't know what to expect from our offense next year because we don't have Corey Brown, Chase Belcher, Chris Thomas, and an experienced offensive line. So it's going to take probably a couple of games, maybe more, for these guys to mature into a scoring machine like we had this year. So I'm expecting, as a fan, I've got to think that your defense is going to have to carry you for a while until the offense catches up. Is that logical?
Now, I agree with that. I do think there's going to be a little bit of learning curve with our offense as we got new faces out there. The good thing is our spring game and our preseason game is against Tifton. Now, Tifton doesn't know how to find the end zone, but do they have a defense to be able to stop our offense?
Man, I hope Cole Moore's watching tonight. So, yeah. So we keep talking about defense because we saw how many points let's be honest, how many points our defense gave up this past year. And so we're returning a good number of those guys. So you would think that with a year of maturity under their belt that they would be even better going into next season, but that's never a guarantee. But we're going to have to rely on those guys to carry the team as long as they possibly can until our offense returns to its prominence, if you will. Now, that's going to be hard to do because you got a Colquitt County offense that was pretty good last year, returning the majority of their players next year, and you've got a head coach that is known for scoring a lot of points with a power spread offense over there. And then you got, as well, on the flip side of that, you got a different type of offense that you're trying to defend against with Camden County, where you got to change your defense to defend against the wing T. So defense is going to be a big, big deal for Lowndes football next year. There's just no way around that, man. There's just no way around it.
And both of those games, Colquitt and Camden, are away games for Lowndes.
Absolutely.
So we've got to be prepared and ready.
Absolutely, man. And so the other team that you kind of touched on a while ago is the Richmond Hill Wildcats. You know, as I say that out loud, did you realize I think this might be the first time ever that we've had 3 sets of Wildcats in our region? We got Camden County, Valdosta, and Richmond Hill, and they're all the Wildcats. So I guess we can keep the same posters up.
That's true.
For most of the region games there. So do you know much about this team?
I really don't. I know they've made a couple runs into the playoffs. I don't know if they made one in 2021, but in 2020, was it 2020 or 2019, they knocked Valdosta out in, was it the quarterfinals?
Yeah, that was maybe
2018.
Now, some would argue, I believe that's 2019. Some would argue that is the game that basically ended Alan Rodemaker's tenure at Valdosta. Some people would just argue that. Now, last year they weren't so good. They were 4-6 last year. We don't know if it was a rebuild year. They just didn't score very many points. 189 points over 10 games. Gave up 226. Lost in the first round of the playoffs. The year before that, they were 9-3. Scored 425 points, but still bounced in the second round. And the year before that, 2019, is the year that you're talking about, where they went 9-4, scored 402 points, gave up 221, and made it to the semifinals in Class 6A. So Richmond Hill, under their head coach, and I think he's been there at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this might be his either 7th or 8th season ahead of that program. When he took over that program, the year before he took over, they were 2-8. His first year was 3-7. And then he's consistently built that program. And in 2019, 2020, he was 9-3 and 9-4, made it to the semifinal rounds of the playoffs. So this is a team that is up and coming under this not new head coach, but under this head coach, Matt Lazat. So again, you never know what to expect from those guys. But looking at their trend line, you can't just look at one season and determine if this is a good opponent or not. But if you take a look at their trend line, they're trending favorably, like they're scoring more points and they're making deeper runs in the playoffs and they're learning how to win. And now they step up into a new region, Region 17A. We don't know anything about this team. How do you think we're going to do against them? It's kind of hard question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables and unknowns for the Lowndes team this year. This is going to be the year where we really see how good of a coach Jamie Dubose is.
Yeah.
And I believe he's a very good coach. But this is where we really see it because
You're right there. Yeah.
Hey, listen, when you've got the most dynamic player in the state of Georgia who's graduated out of the program, having to fill that void, and not to mention Chase Belcher, who went from receiver to running back, but still there was some dynamic that dynamic duo on the offensive side of the ball. So we've got to replace that. But I think that because of our scrimmage game, our preseason game, and who some of our opponents are that are non-region opponents, we are playing some tougher teams. Right. So by the time we get to region play, and then we have Valdosta, and then we have a week off after that first region game before we advance to the next opponent. So there's time for us to make adjustments and improve upon the season for sure.
That's right. So, 2022 is going to be a fun season, I think, to watch these guys mature and grow. The crazy thing about it is, this region is going to be so diverse, man. You get into the metro Atlanta areas and everyone's running a wide open spread and they got D1 athletes all over the field. But these Region 1 teams, I mean, every team is so structurally different, right? You got Camden County with the wing T. They run a 3-3 stack defense. You got Lowndes with more of a run spread type of offense, almost like an Auburn type of offense that runs a 3-4 defense. Then you got Colquitt that's probably going to run a 4-3 defense, looking back and seeing what Colquitt ran before. They're probably going to run a 4-3 defense with a power spread offense that's more of a pass-based type of offense. Richmond Hill probably, I think, runs a spread offense. So this is a very diverse type of region. I don't really know what to expect coming out of region play. Is this region going to prepare the Lowndes Vikings for the playoffs next year? Because you don't have a pass-happy spread every single week like a lot of these Metro Atlanta teams. Is it going to be enough to prepare our guys for the playoffs?
Well, time will tell. We'll see also what East Coweta has this year as we go up there and play them. They're not necessarily Metro Atlanta, but they're up there playing a lot of those teams. So let's see what happens in that game too.
Do you remember the teams that we talked about that are being scheduled for the non-region? Do you remember those teams? You got American Heritage.
Yep.
You got East Coweta. I think Brookwood. You got Life Christian Academy. I can't remember.
There was the Miami team.
Oh, North Miami Beach. That's right. Out of those games, what game are you looking forward to the most?
I think North Miami Beach and
the first one, American Heritage.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that first one as well because that's going to be kind of a unique format. It's going to be a double header, and we're actually partnering with our foes over in Colquitt County. So the Packers are going to come into Martin Stadium and play that first game, that 5:00 game, in a double header on August 20th. That's going to be a unique experience for us. Do you think our fans will show up for both games?
It's a great opportunity to watch some good football, and being on a Saturday, I would think that the fans would turn out. And you know what? It gives our coaches a chance to see what Colquitt's doing this year. Granted, Colquitt's coaches can watch our team as well, but it gives us a chance to kind of see what we're dealing with. So as we get to the region, maybe it better prepares us.
Well, listen, all I know is if I find a Colquitt County fan sitting in my season ticket seat, I'm going to tell him, that's my seat.
Well, or just hand him a pair of binoculars. Hey, Larry, you know what? Michelle never called in, did she?
She didn't. So does that mean that Billy's really not officially engaged? So we need to send Billy a text message. So you got some explaining to do. Michelle never said yes. See how he replied. Oh, man. So listen, before we get out, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. And I did want to talk about, we're going to take a little bit of break from high school football because listen, this is the state of Georgia and we've got the Georgia Bulldogs playing in the national championship game coming up Monday night in which I think you're going to be there in person, right?
I am.
Hey, I see your hat you got on. You're starting to get your mind right already.
Listen, being a Georgia fan means you're a true fan of the Bulldogs. You're not a.
That's right.
You're not a jump on the bandwagon fan. It's 41 years since we've won a natty. I don't want to get in this. I'm not going to talk trash. All I'm going to say is that if Georgia wins,
yeah,
and they should, but if to be there to witness that game, those memories will be priceless. So, and the other thing is, I'm glad the game is inside because it's going to be a high of 23 in Indianapolis on Monday, a low of 8.
Yeah, so Gary West asked an interesting question. This is we're going to come back to Georgia football, but he asked a question about the doubleheader that we were just talking about. He says, if you buy a ticket for the first game of the year, can you see both games or one game? I think it's both games, but I'm not 100% sure, Gary. That's a great question. I'm going to find out for you. Now, in the past, we've had it where if you buy a ticket and you leave the stadium, then you can't come back unless you buy another ticket. I think most stadiums have that policy, but I really don't know. Let me try to find that out for you, and I'll get back to you. Great question. So, back to Georgia football. Georgia didn't play very well a few weeks ago in that SEC championship game in Alabama. What do you expect them to do differently?
Well, first and foremost, Alabama had everything to lose in that SEC championship game.
Yeah.
They had to win and win convincingly to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
Now, Georgia, I don't think took it as serious. I think they said, hey, we're 12-0. We got this, particularly after Auburn sacked Bryce Young 7 times. And then Georgia doesn't even get his jersey dirty.
Right.
The Georgia team that showed up against Michigan last Friday was an entirely new Georgia team. They were remotivated. They were playing with a chip on their shoulder. I'm obviously, what we're hoping for is a Georgia victory. I hope it's a good game. I hope it does not come down to Georgia only winning by 7 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The only way I'm going to feel comfortable with the Georgia victory if Georgia's winning by 21 with about a minute to go. At that point, I'll do the happy dance.
I will never feel comfortable until the last whistle blows.
That's true.
Game. Oh
Hey,
my
did you see the picture of the Alabama referee carrying the the referee carrying the Alabama footballs following the team after the Cotton Bowl?
Listen, I'm sure there was nothing nefarious to that, but it wasn't a good optic, was it?
No, it was not. It was not.
When he was right there with the team and he's got the bag over his shoulder and it says Alabama football. It was a crazy look. It really was.
You can't make this stuff up.
So what do you think, what do you think? Let me trying to think of, because this question has been beat to death. If you're a follower of dognation.com, if you watch Brandon Adams with his daily show, if you read any of the message boards, if you listen to Paul Feinbaum, any of these, and it comes up, Georgia football comes up, the question always is asked for the last probably 3 months. Is Kirby Smart crazy by not playing JT Daniels, or is Stetson Bennett the guy that can beat Alabama? Where do you come down on that?
At the SEC championship game, when we're trailing, I thought Kirby's going to flip the script on Saban. He's going to bring in the backup. JT's going to come out and win this game. When he did not go to JT, I believe there's something else going on with JT that we're just not aware of.
You think so?
I do, and it could be a mental thing. I'm not sure, but let's give Stetson some credit here for a second.
Yeah.
He's a competitor. Stetson will never play ball in the NFL.
Yeah,
but you know what? Tebow was a competitor, and I thought Tebow would have made it in the NFL, and he didn't. But goodness gracious, he knew how to win in college.
Yeah.
And Stetson's kind of got that little bit of factor about him where he doesn't let the outside noise get to him. He still carries around a flip phone.
Right.
So he's not paying attention to all that other noise. His teammates believe in him. So let's see what happens. But I can tell you, he's got some wheels now.
Listen, man, all that's fine and good. You said basically everything that Kirby Smart said. Okay. But is he good enough to score 35 to 40 points and just in case Alabama gets into a shootout with Georgia?
I think if he sticks with what he is good at, yes.
Okay.
If he has to throw the ball 50, 60 times, we're in trouble.
So if Alabama turns Georgia into a one-dimensional team, we're in trouble. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Man, I hope that defense has a little bit more success against the Alabama offense this time.
I do too. I hope we get to Bryce Young early and often.
Yep. Listen, this football up here, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a Georgia football. I'm hoping that we can add another date up here. National championships of 1942 and 1980. I'm hoping that we can add
I still have
2002
Coca-Cola
up there.
bottles. I still
What's
have
that now?
Coca-Cola bottles filled, unopened from the last national championship.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we can add 2022 up there. Or would it be officially a 2021 year? I don't know how that works.
No, I think it's 2021.
So
listen, but this is why you play the game.
This is why you play the game, and you never know, man. I think Georgia definitely has the athletes to beat Alabama. I think they've got the coaching staff to beat Alabama, but do they have the mental capacity? Can they overcome this hurdle to beat Alabama?
Now, I'm going to make a bold statement here, and this has nothing to do with this game because I'm just being in reserve mode right now. But if and when Georgia finally beats Alabama, particularly if it's a 2-score win, at that point going forward, I think a switch will be flipped for Georgia. That going forward, they will believe and know that they can beat Alabama. Right now, they have got to get that monkey off their back.
Hey, let's put our discussion about this on pause because I know for a fact now both Billy Pearson and Michelle Carter are watching because they both just commented on the show. So this is going out to them too. Michelle Carter, if you're listening right now, we need you to call in to this number. Just right now. Don't hesitate. This almost sounds like a Jerry Lewis telethon type of plea, right? Don't hesitate, Michelle Carter. We just played the engagement video of Billy giving you the ring on Christmas Eve, and you got all excited and opened and you got emotional and you hugged Billy, but you never officially said yes. So, Michelle Carter, we're asking you right now to call into this line because our audience is confused on whether or not you guys are officially engaged or not. So let's just go ahead and settle that answer right now. Call into the line 229-469-1205. Say yes on the air. Say, I love Billy Pearson, or I'm going to marry him. It's just to give our audience some peace of mind as they go to sleep tonight. Because inquiring minds want to know right now. So anyway. And I guess if she doesn't call in the next couple minutes, we know our answer.
Yeah, that's true. Larry, so what's your take on the Georgia game?
I'm nervous. I really am. I'm cautiously optimistic. You know me. I like to talk. I like to brag about Lowndes. I like to brag about Georgia football. And I was talking a lot before the first game a few weeks ago, but I ain't talking a lick for this game just because I'm nervous, man. Honestly, I wish Kirby would have played JT Daniels several games ago. Shannon Tabor asked a question. Is Billy getting married? Shannon, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Oh, she's taking the easy way out. She's putting it on the comments. I guess this is her word, right? She's putting it in writing so people can see. So we'll take this. We'll take it. You don't have to call it. We'll take this. She says, OMG, yes. Of course I said yes. We don't really know if Billy kind of hijacked Michelle's phone to type this, but we'll take your word for it.
I'm wondering the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But you know, it would be nice if we could just hear your voice on the air say, yes, of course I said yes.
And we need to make sure she's not under duress when she says it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, congratulations, I think, to you two. Yeah, we're gonna play this one as long as we can. But
hey, what was the song that Billy picked out? He finally settled on. What was it? I Think I'm Gonna Marry You.
oh man, that's a great question, dude. What was that song?
I think it was I Think I'm Gonna Marry You.
Oh, I can't remember, man.
So
I can't remember.
the next step is we need to hear Michelle's voice, make sure she's not under duress, and find out
That's
what
right.
her song choice would be.
That's right. So we're just having a good time. She says, no, he hasn't hijacked my phone. Of course, Billy would say that. So anyway, enough of that. Congratulations to Stetson Bennett and I'm sorry. Congratulations to Billy Pearson and Michelle Carter on your upcoming nuptials. We wish you nothing but the best. So anyway, I'm hoping that Kirby coaches the best game of his life Monday night, because you know we know that Nick Saban's going to bring it. He does every single game, even when he finds himself behind. He's composed and finds a way to win. We need Kirby Smart to find a way to win Monday night. We need the Georgia defense. I don't think the Georgia defense is going to stop Alabama's offense. I think Alabama is going to score more than 28 points, if not into the 30s, right? But we need the Georgia's defense at least to slow down Alabama's offense to give the Georgia offense a fighting chance. Because I don't think Stetson Bennett has it in him to take that offense completely over and will that team to victory. I don't think he can win in a shootout. Now, when I say shootout, I don't think he can win a 45-42 game. I think his cap is about 32, 35 points, if that. We saw him score that many points this year, but they were against lesser opponents. I don't know if he can score that many points against Alabama. And a lot of people would say, but Larry, he's not the entire offense, but he's the quarterback. He commands that offense. He's the guy in charge. You know, when you think of Tom Brady, you don't think of the role players around him. You don't think of, when you think of New England's offense, when Brady was there, you thought of Tom Brady, right? When you think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and when you talk about their offense, you talk about the quarterback, Tom Brady. The quarterback is the most important position because he's the general of the offense. He gets the credit and he gets the blame. That's just the way football works. And we need him to get the credit Monday night and have the best game of his life. So I don't want to hear if Georgia loses, I don't want to hear, but man, that defense gave up so many points. We know the defense is going to give up a lot of points because they're playing Alabama's prolific offense. We just need the defense to slow down Alabama and at the same time, Stetson Bennett to have the game of his life and keep the dogs in it. That's what I'm looking for.
If Georgia can get 3 to 4 sacks on Bryce Young and have 2 turnovers, we're going to be in fairly good shape.
Gotcha. All right, so this is the final word before we sign off for tonight. Michelle Carter says, I'm at the the Salty Snapper right now. It's really loud in here. Live band. Y'all are so silly. Yes, I said yes. There you have it. It's official, guys.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations to Billy Pearson and Michelle Carter. And congratulations to all of you guys for making it another year. We're hot on the heels of a state championship for Lowndes football this year, beginning with 2022. And we're just a few months away from the spring game. Right? I think that's going to be sometime in early May. That's usually when it is. Yep. And we're going to do something a little bit unique this year with our preseason scrimmages. We're playing Tift County in the spring game and the fall preseason scrimmage. So we're going to see a true measure of how far or how much our team has improved from the spring to the fall against the same team, Chris, which is what I really like about this type of setup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So anyway, let's have this drawing before we get out of here tonight. So best of luck to you guys. This is your last chance. Go ahead and enter in hashtag one Lowndes into. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. Got to. Oh, look at that. Congratulations, Mike Fletcher. All right, man. I forgot to tell Mike what he was going to win. Mike, you win the Stuff the Bucket meal and a couple of T-shirts, a couple of Viking Nation and Winn-Dixie T-shirts. All you need to do is, well, I'll send you the directions, Mike. Congratulations on that win. Chris, we're going to do one more drawing for 2 more T-shirts. Okay.
Okay.
So let me just write down Fletch won the T-shirt and the bucket. Okay. So good luck to everybody. This drawing is for another 2 T-shirts. And Mike, if you just happen to randomly get picked again, you don't qualify for this next drawing. We'll just redraw. And it's going to be Suzanne Tanner. Oh, look at that.
Band booster secretary, Miss Suzanne Tanner.
I know. That's great, man. Congratulations, guys. Yeah, I think what we're going to do, guys, is starting next week, we have a lot of T-shirts to give away, not just Viking Nation T-shirts this year, but we're going to be giving away other shirts as well, like from A Shade of Perfection. Tim Neesmith wants to give away a bunch of shirts as well. We're probably going to start doing 3 drawings so we can start getting rid of some of our inventory of shirts, because we got a bunch of different types of giveaways this year. So you want to make sure you stick around or join us for every week. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's show. We want to thank you so much for joining us. We want to congratulate Billy and Michelle on their engagement. We want to congratulate Lowndes Basketball for both the boys and girls for their hot start to the season. Both of them have their first region game tomorrow night up in Tifton against the Blue Devils. And we want to remind you at the same time about Lowndes Baseball, the annual fundraiser that they're having Monday night, I believe at 6:30 at the LHS cafeteria. If you would like more information on that, contact Dan Kerrigan or Ryan Page with Lowndes Baseball. Chris, you got anything else?
Hey, go Vikings, go Dogs, and let's see what happens.
Go Vikings, go Dogs, and we'll see. We never say goodbye. We'll say see you later, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Go Vikings.
Good night.